Mr. Michael Law will present about Smart Mobility Roadmap for Hong Kong. The Hong Kong government published in 2020 the Smart City Blueprint for Hong Kong 2.0, setting out the initiative for smart city development with a view to addressing the challenges of city management and improving people's livelihood through innovation and technology. Smart mobility is one of the key areas identified in the blueprint to set out the strategy and roadmap for delivering the various smart mobility initiatives. In the blueprint, the Transport Department published the Smart Mobility Roadmap for Hong Kong. The roadmap adopts the synchronyme SIGMA, Sigma, as is the vision. S stands for safe, I for informative, G for green, M for mobile, and A for accessible, and comprises smart mobility initiative under 3 areas. Number 1, smart transport infrastructure. Number 2, data sharing and analytics. Number 3, applications and services. And then Michael will present on smart mobility initiative under this particular roadmap. Now let me do a formal introduction for Mr. Michael Law. Michael was graduated from the University of Hong Kong with a bachelor degree of science in civil engineering. Since then, he has been working in the government of the Hong Kong government for various civil engineering projects, including the design and construction of To Kwa Wan Typhoon Shelter and the Tseung Kwan O Lam Tien Tunnel, which is under construction. He has also been substantially involved in information technology during his career. For example, he was the chief engineer of the smart mobility of the Transport Department in 2018, responsible for intelligent transport systems. He is now the Assistant Commissioner for Technical Services of the Transport Department, responsible for delivery of various smart mobility initiatives. Let's welcome Michael, giving up his lunchtime to share his thought with us. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you, Professor Hon Lo. I would like to thank the Great Smart City Institute for giving me an opportunity to talk about Transport Department's Smart Mobility Roadmap. TD has deployed intelligent transport systems for quite some time. In the 1970s, we implemented the area traffic control systems, which link up all the on-site traffic signal controllers and allow our operators to control the traffic signals in the control center. In 2003, we started to install journey time indicators and the speed map panels to advise motorists of the journey time along selected strategic routes. In 2018, we released HK Mobility app, and last month we upgrade the app to provide more personalized information. For example, through 1 to 2 clicks, you will know the public transport routes available and their estimated times of arrival. On the screen, you can see that there is a QR code. I hope that if you have not downloaded the app yet, please download it. I think you will find it very convenient that you can access a lot of transport or traffic information from the app. Next, Hong Kong's transport and traffic are facing a number of challenges. We have a very high density of vehicles. For every kilometer of road, we have 373 licensed vehicles. Our fleet size is growing at 3% per year, but the road length is only growing at 0.4% and the parking space at 0.9%. Like many other cities, we are also facing the aging issue, and we have to cater for the mobility of the elderly. It is not uncommon that a single traffic accident in our strategic route will cause widespread traffic congestion, and hence we need to enhance the resilience of our road system. It is unrealistic that we can enhance the resilience of our road system simply by building more roads, in particular in urban areas where we just do not have sufficient space. We therefore have to turn to smart mobility measures. Smart mobility is one of the 6 key areas identified in the Smart City Blueprint, and also the Transport Department issued in 2019 the Smart Mobility Roadmap to lay down the roadmap for delivery of the smart mobility initiatives. As mentioned by Professor Hong Lo, we have a vision called Sigma, and I think Professor Lo already introduced what the Sigma is. Our smart mobility initiatives can be grouped under 3 categories: smart transport infrastructure, applications and services, and data sharing and analytics. For smart transport infrastructures, we have just completed installation of 1,200 traffic detectors along strategic routes and some major roads. We have 3 types of traffic detectors. First, we have a dual visual and thermal cameras, which allow us to monitor traffic conditions. These cameras are equipped with automatic incident detection functions and can alert us of any unusual situation on roads. For example, objects drop off from vehicles or any vehicles driving in the wrong direction. We also have Bluetooth detectors to measure journey time. We have automatic number plate recognition cameras, which capture the registration marks of vehicles for classification purposes. We have developed the traffic and incident management system to enhance communication with all relevant parties. Example, franchise bus companies, MTR, and police, for speedy resolution of traffic accidents and for communications with the public, particularly through our mobile app, HKE Mobility. We will start implementing free-flow tolling system using RFID technologies by end of next year. By 2024, all existing government toll tunnels and HKSAR control area will be implemented with the free-flow tolling system, and motorists will no longer have to stop and pay at toll booths. The Western Harbour Tunnel and the Dai Nam Tunnel will also be implemented with the free-flow tolling system after the government takes up their ownerships in August 2023 and May 2025, respectively. We have also tried the real-time adaptive traffic signals. We have implemented such signals in Dai Tam Dam. The road on the dam is quite narrow and is only 5 meters wide. Traffic deadlocks commonly occurred when 2 wide vehicles meet in the dam. Previously, we have implemented conventional traffic signals to allow traffic to travel in only one direction at a time, but it results in a very long queue, and the average travel time was 400 seconds. That is more than 6 minutes. Then we changed to real-time adaptive signal system, and the green time is allocated according to the length of the queues in the 2 directions. The result is quite encouraging, and the travel time is drastically reduced to 145 seconds, slightly more than 2 minutes. We are now trying the system at 5 more junctions. Depending on the trial results, we will consider how to roll out the system to other junctions. We have also conducted a trial of geofencing technology to improve bus safety. Through a GPS system installed on bus, we know the location of the bus and the speed limit of the road. Then the bus speed is automatically adjusted not to exceed the speed limit. For data sharing, we are now sharing a lot of traffic and transport data through our HKE Mobility and data.gov.hk. For example, journey times, traffic snapshots, parking space, vacancy information, estimated time of arrival of franchise buses and MTR. We are also starting to release ETA data of green minibus. And today we have 165 GMB routes the ETA information is released through HKE Mobility and data.gov.hk. We target to release the ETA data of all green minibuses routes by the end of next year. For data analytics, we are collaborating with OGCIO to develop a big data platform for traffic. We want to study how rainfall will affect traffic speed with a view to provide a more accurate forecast of the journey time during rainfall. Through the platform, we also want to identify if there are any common causes leading to traffic accidents. Through data analytics, we want to move from detection to prediction and from response to prevention. On application and services side, we have rolled out a number of applications and services, and some are on the pipeline. For example, we started to replace our aging parking meters with new ones, which can accept multiple payment means. The meters are equipped with a sensor to tell whether the parking space is occupied or not. They also allow remote payment of one more parking session. For non-meter parking spaces, we are also trying IoT sensors to detect occupants of the parking space. We are also conducting a pilot for automatic parking system, and the first system will be open to public in this year in a short-term tenancy car park in Tsuen Wan. We are continuing to install display panels in covered bus stops and public transport interchanges to provide useful information to the public, such as ETA. We are also encouraging public transport operators to provide more payment means to the public other than just autobus. A longer-term initiative is the promotion of connected and autonomous vehicles. These vehicles have the benefits of avoiding human errors, increasing road efficiency, reduce emission, and also improve mobility. We are now drafting law to empower our commissioner to exempt certain provisions of the existing traffic laws. Example, the need for a driver on board the vehicles to facilitate the trial and operation of connected and autonomous vehicles. This slide lists out the smart mobility initiatives I just presented, and it's the end of my presentation. Thank you, Professor Hono. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for a very comprehensive roadmap for Hong Kong. I just leave it open to the audience. If you have any question to ask Mr. Michael Law, this is time.
Professor, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Law, for the presentations. Well, recently from the news, we have heard that autonomous vehicle, when they are in a parking mode, this has been considered and but may not yet approved unless the liability issues is well considered. Is it something you can educate us that whether this may be in some way in Hong Kong how this may be considered in Hong Kong?
Firstly, the existing law required a driver inside the vehicles to control the vehicles. And therefore, the existing law does not allow that one step out of the vehicles and say press some buttons through the app and then the vehicle can park itself. The law doesn't allow that. And as you just quote, yes, there will be liability issues. In general, if one parked the car, he should be responsible for the movement of the car is it caused any damages to nearby properties or hurt somebody, the driver most likely will be the responsible party. But in the case if one step out of the car, then who is to be responsible? Is the manufacturer of the car responsible or the driver? And also, and that is why when we answer the press queries, we said that we have to study. We are still open at this moment, and we have to study the implications. And also, most likely, we will not allow such automatic parking functions to be activated on a public road, because you can imagine that when a driver step out of the vehicle, it is likely that he has to step out on a carriageway, because on the left, it is a parking space, and then his car now is occupied the first lane. He will have to step onto the second lane, and this will have safety implications. Therefore, most likely, such functions will likely only be allowed in, say, a car park, where there is less safety concern. Yes. Do I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question for Michael?
Michael, thank you for your presentation. So your smart mobility roadmap really just focus on road. How about smart mobility from multimodal system, such as ferry, railway system, and even air mobility? What's your view?
Yes, we do cover ferries also, but for example, through our HKE mobility map, we will enhance any news about any service disruption to the ferry service, and also we provide the schedule of the ferries through the app. But you can imagine that unlike vehicles on roads, it is not the main type of travel now. I believe people generally use public transport, their own cars or MTRs, something like that. And that is why I do not cover much on that. And also, the Environmental Protection Department will also try some electric ferries, and these are under their ambit. I think you also asked about the air travel. Am I right?
Yeah, air mobility.
Air mobility. Firstly, I think
in the future maybe.
Yes. Firstly, Transport Department do not oversee the air traffic. It is the responsibility of the Civil Aviation Department, and therefore we do not cover that. But perhaps the development of the air traffic, personalized air traffic, might perhaps impact on the road traffic. But I think we will have to keep in view. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one more question. How about ride sharing offered by online platforms such as Uber, Didi, which is very popular in mainland China and in America? How about what's your view, on the ride sharing by online, through online platform in Hong Kong, like services provided by Uber car?
You mean to allow legal operation of Uber? Is that
just your opinion on that? The government opinion. Yeah, the opinion of the government on this type of services.
I think we have to. Yes, I think we So far, the transport department has to be very careful about the ecosystem of the transport operation. We have, I think, I can't remember the exact figure, might be a few tens of thousands of taxi drivers and taxi owners which will be affected. And you know, the taxi license is costs quite a lot in Hong Kong, and we have to be very careful to do anything that will affect the livelihood of these people and also their properties. And that is why the government is taking a very cautious approach in allowing Uber. We have to resolve all that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone? Oh, there's a question in the chat. The question is saying about the EV, electric vehicle development in Hong Kong, and about cross-border with GBA cities, how the charging scheme for EV from Hong Kong to the mainland has been studied, whether this has been studied, and whether there's any current situation and challenges in cross-border charging EV.
I think the Environmental Protection Department also has a roadmap for the EV. They publish the roadmap and they have a plan to increase the number of chargers in Hong Kong. And in fact, EV is under the purview of the Environmental Protection Department, and they have a plan for that. I'm not sure that what do you mean by a charging scheme. I think provided that both sides have sufficient chargers, then it will be okay for any cross-boundary electric vehicle traffic. I presume it will be okay. And I'm not sure if there is any need for any coordination between the two sides. And I think we will let the market do its work. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Law?
Yeah.
Mr. Law, I have a question. Yes. Yeah, so I know that in mainland, right, I mean, there has been many cameras deployed in the on the road to sort of understand the traffic, right? So I wonder whether the transport department in Hong Kong would consider installing this highly elevated, I mean, these wide view cameras to understand and monitor traffic.
Yes, in fact, we have just complete installation of about 1,200 traffic detectors along our strategic routes, and together with other existing CCTVs installed in some major roads, major junctions. We are also doing that, but probably the density of our CCTV cannot be compared with that of the mainland China. And also we are quite cautious about the piracy issue. In all our CCTVs or traffic detectors, we do not have recording functions. We are just for monitoring of the road conditions or for extraction of certain traffic data, which are not personal data. For example, the number of the traffic volume, and their classification. Except that we do have some cameras which will have recording functions, which are the cameras inside the toll plaza for collection of tolls and for taking enforcement actions against toll evasion. And this is our stand. And also, for you probably heard that there is a smart lamppost initiative. Now, because of piracy concern, we have changed our cameras to LiDAR and also the maybe radar. And because this can't capture any number plate or the facial recognition, and and this is our approach now. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one question in the chat too. One asked whether he would like to know more about the long-term plan for connected and autonomous vehicles. What will be the first step of the plan?
The first step is to amend the existing law. At present, we use a particular clause in the existing law, that is the issue of movement permit, to allow trial of the autonomous vehicles. But the regime of movement permit has its limitations. It is supposed to allow a special type of vehicle to travel from one point to another. It does not allow passengers. It does not allow the operator to charge any fare. And therefore, the existing law has some limitations. And we are now amending the law to empower our commissioner to exempt certain provision of the existing law. For example, the need for a driver to be on board the vehicle, and also to allow the commissioner to allow the operators to charge fare of their service provided. And we are doing that. We also, in the law, we will also make reference to a code of practice for the operation and trial of the autonomous vehicles, such that these services have to meet a certain minimum standard. For example, some safety standard and the cybersecurity standard. Yes, this is how we facilitate the development of these special vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, our campus is a test site. So I saw the car driving at night.
Yes.
I think they circle around our campus for I don't know how many miles already. So maybe Michael, our robotics institute director, maybe he would know. So at night, this autonomous vehicle is driving around our campus. Try to learn about the environment.
Yes, it seems that there is no driver on board.
No driver.
Yeah, it is a delivery, and also it is permitted under the movement permit approach. Just mentioned.
Yes. I just heard a question from someone.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. I wonder whether there is any service that is specifically designed for the elderly. What do you think is the main difficulty in the planning? Thank you.
There are some initiatives to facilitate the elderly. For example, for the HKE mobility, there are some elderly mode. The screen size, the font size is larger. And also when the elderly search a particular walking route, he can, if he has mobility issues, for example, he may find it difficult to use a staircase. Then if he provide that setting to us, we will select the route that is not so mobility challenging. For example, the route will have a lift, something like that. And also we are now trying the installing smart device in our crossing. Upon the tapping of the elderly autobus cars on the device installed in the crossing, the flashing green time will be extended so that they will have more time to cross the road. There are also other existing initiatives to improve the mobility of the elderly. For example, to install the staircase, to install lifts for bridges, And also we have the hillside escalator initiative to facilitate the elderly to walk over our hilly terrain. Yes, these are our main measures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Joyce.
Hi, Michael.
Yes,
Hello, this is Joyce. I used to work in EKEL. Now I'm in CDD and working on cycle track projects. So my question to Michael would be, how has TD's smart mobility plan include the inclusiveness for cyclists? Because we are building networks of cycle tracks in the new territories. It's like 82 kilometers long. So wayfinding, how to get to the cycle track, ways of getting there would be a way that people are looking for in the long term, I think.
Yes, I think we are starting to do that. The cycle track routes are now accessible through our HK mobility.
Yes.
And perhaps for route searching, we can also allow the cycle track to be searched through our app. And also we are also studying how to improve the safety of the cyclists, because from the accident statistics, we know that the number of accidents is on the rising trend, probably because more people cycle now. And we are investigating whether there can be any measures to help reduce the number of accidents of cyclists. This what we are doing now.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
Any further questions? Michael, I have one question about of this roadmap. There are a lot of items. Where do you see as things we can implement in a short time and we quite low-hanging fruit, things we can do within 1 or 2 years and get some results? And what are things that will be in the longer term, like autonomous vehicle certainly is not in the next 5 years. So I'm just interested in the short-term gains that one can work on.
I think a number of initiatives have been implemented or is being implemented. For example, the traffic detectors, we have already done that, and the data are released through HKE mobility and also the data.gov.k. Next year, we will implement the free-flow tolling system, and the intelligent junction initiative is also being implemented. And in fact, some junctions have already been implemented with intelligence. And we will soon try the linkage of individual intelligent junctions and see whether they can be linked together, even if they are intelligent. And geofencing, I think there are quite a number of that being implemented or on the pipeline. And also one important achievement is the ETA of public transport. So far, previously, we have a very big missing piece, the ETA information of KMB. And now this year, we also release those kind of information. And we will also try to analyze their data rather than just the ETA information, the traffic speed, and how we can make use of those information. I also mentioned the ETA of GMB, and now we have 165 routes available in our system. Yes, I think you are right to say that the AV is a longer term issues. In fact, I mentioned the amendment of law. I think this is not the ultimate law. At present, it is only a sandbox approach that allows C4T to exempt certain provisions of the existing law. And the detailed examinations the detailed exemptions will be considered on a case-by-case basis. And ultimately, perhaps we need a very comprehensive law for the AV, but we are not ready for that. We simply do not understand the technology. But we try to facilitate the development at this moment. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions for Michael?
Hello. I'm a PG student major in environmental science. So I'm wondering if you have any future plan about the reducing the transportation emission and also reducing the human exposure of those pollutants. Thank you.
Yes, I think, as I mentioned before, the Environmental Protection Department has already issued the roadmap for the development of EV. And I think one of the main advantage of EV is that the cars have no roadside emission. And this will significantly improve the air quality of our urban areas. And of course, say we develop the free-flow tolling systems that the car doesn't have to stop at our toll plaza. And this will help to reduce the emission, I hope significantly, at least during non-peak hours, where when the car really does not have to stop. But in peak hours, of course, there will be congestion and the car still have to stop and go. Yeah. And according to the roadmap of the Environmental Protection Department, all the petroleum powered cars will be phased out in the next decade. And I think this will significantly improve the environment. Thank you.
A question for MK?
Yes, I do. I would like to ask another question about focusing on livability. Well, when people talk about smart transport, well, towards a more livable city, we see a trend of car-free zones or car-free neighborhoods, rather than encouraging more car parking infrastructure or car parking facilities which attract cars. People are talking about, especially with the pandemic opportunity, well, more roads actually are turned into green public space, cycling tracks, walking path. And well, with Hong Kong so good public transport infrastructure, is that a possibility, or has there any discussion or consideration in a smart mobility future that more car-free zones actually will be implemented, especially for the very crowded and dense urban core? Is it something, TD has been considering?
Yes, I think in the new development areas, in the new territories, when drawing up their plan, they will try to promote the use of green transport, including cycling, walking, and so also some emission-free vehicles. They have a plan for that, but I don't think they will go so far as to implement car-free zone yet. But I think it is open to further discussion. If there is safe suggestion from the academic, and we can help address the transportation issues even without cars, then I think we will very much like to learn about that. Yeah, but you mentioned about the provision of, say, car parking space. In the past, we have a belief that if we do not provide too many parking space, then the people won't buy cars, and there will less traffic. There will be less traffic. But after say more than a decade of experience, we found out that people continue to buy cars, and they just simply park on our roads, which cause congestions. And therefore, we change a bit, and we consider when we say assess the building plans of developments, we require certain provision of the parking space according to our to the Hong Kong PSG guideline, Hong Kong planning and standard guidelines. Yes, but yes, I think we hope that there can be some suggestion from the university on how we can improve the situation of Hong Kong. And one, I also supplement that we now increase the first registration tax for cars. And I hope that this can further reduce the growth of the cars in future. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much, Mr. Law. I think it is always a constant debate whether we should increase the car parking provisions in the Hong Kong PSG. I subscribe to the argument that we should not, but of course there are many other voices and a lot of other arguments. But to me, what I believe is a good infrastructure, integrated infrastructure planning. So when I drive, I can, for car-free zone, when we look at Singapore experience, we know that when they promote a car-free zone, they need to plan where the car should stop. And they need a certain parking facilities which fence off the car from the car-free zone. And then within a certain cycle of the, which is pedestrian-friendly neighborhood, they integrate other green mobility. So, and this, I think this may need more integrated planning of the commuter experience rather than just stop car at a certain zone. But I think this is a very complicated and a debate among different stakeholders.
I think the relevant department, like the CEDD, Civil Engineering and Development Department, are doing that for the new development areas. They are doing exactly like that, they try to promote green transport within that area. And so that people don't have to rely too much on private cars. Perhaps if you have, you can visit their websites and provide your very good suggestion. I totally agree with what you said. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Albert, you have a question?
Yeah, Michael, thanks for your presentation. Just two questions. The first one is, how do you see the change of commuters' behavior post-COVID-19? Do you expect any substantial change? Maybe they use more public transport, or they use actually less public transport? The other question is, how do you see the application of AI in the whole, traffic management or travel, transport planning, etc.?
I think now the traffic volume has already been restored to the pre-COVID-19 level. And perhaps I would believe many people now use their private cars for traveling rather than taking public transport, probably because of fear of contract of the disease. I hope that the disease will leave us soon, or after we have all have community immunity, then they can restore to use public transport. For AI, I think we are trying big data. We are building a big data platform with OGCIO to provide more realistic forecasts of the journey time to motorists to plan their journeys. And also we hope that to use the big data platform to analyze the cause of accidents so that we can prevent the occurrence of similar accidents in future and reduce the number of accidents. Yes, we are doing that, but I hope that the attendants can give us more ideas about how to make use of AI to improve our transport services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Edward. Gary, you have a question for?
Yeah, I know that in Hong Kong, right, parking lots is very scarce and limited. Is TD doing anything on that to sort of facilitate people to look for parking lots?
Yes, in our HK Mobility app, there is a vacancy information, real-time vacancy information of the number vacant parking space. And also, we are starting to replace our aging parking meters. These new parking meters are equipped with sensors to sense the occupancy of the vehicles. And the vacancy information, again, is released through HK Mobility. And this help drivers to locate the parking space easily and avoid circulation along the roads. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question. A few years ago, TD conducted a feasibility study of ERP and also conducted a public consultation. Is there any new progress on ERP?
Yes, I think we have not given up the initiative. We are still formulating the detailed proposal for our ERP initiative. And I can tell you that we will consult the public again at suitable times. Thank you.
Okay.
CC, you have a question?
Yes, so thank you. Thanks, Mr. Law, for giving the presentation. I'm CC, I'm working in HKUST. So I have two questions regarding this real-time adaptive signal, traffic signal. So I know that in some cities of the world, for example, Sydney, in their signalized control, adaptive signalized control, they give priority to some big vehicles like buses and trucks, because those vehicles are like moving bottlenecks. I'm wondering, so in Hong Kong, in this adaptive traffic signal system, is there any priority given to those type of vehicles? And the second question is also about this signal control system. So you also mentioned that TD is planning for the era of connected vehicles. And then with the development of the vehicle to infrastructure technology and also connected vehicles, does TD have any plan to incorporate such technology into the traffic signal control? For example, perhaps like for those type of system can collect information like routing information or travel information of those vehicles. And also, for example, implements something like intersection marketing, which vehicles can send requests to ask for priority to pass through some intersections. So these are my two questions.
At present, our real-time adaptive signal system does not give priority to the bus. We assign the green time mainly depending on the queue length of the opposing roads. I think one of the main issues in Hong Kong is that our public transport system is so well developed that maybe all opposing roads have buses, and it will be rather difficult to assign priority to certain direction. But we are still open to it. Maybe in future, if we identify really a bus corridors, maybe we can do that. But we also have to take into account the impact to other road users. At present, we already have the bus only links to facilitate them along the main bus corridors. For connected vehicles, I think our role is a facilitating role. So far, we have facilitated a trial of connected vehicles conducted by HKSAR S3. They have a trial of V2X in Sartin along from Science Park to the Sartin City Center. And in fact, we allow them to install some interfacing units in our traffic lights controllers, so that our controllers can inform the trial car users of the lighting status of whether it is green, red, or yellow, and also. But so far we do not allow their trial vehicles to interact with our traffic lights, but we mainly provide information to them, and in future we hope to facilitate more trial of the connected vehicles, and if necessary we can say modify our traffic signal controller to cope with the trial. Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
So maybe we can have one or two last questions. So give Michael some time to have lunch. If there's no question, I have one question. I think we talk about integrated planning and walkability and so on. So I'm just thinking about in the upcoming comprehensive transport studies, whether walking will be formally considered as a mode, as part of the transportation system, instead of like in the CTS, we always talk about motorized transport, leaving out passenger, put pedestrian, walking, traffic out of the planning process. Now, the point is, if we had included pedestrian walking into the planning process, then the integrated planning become more feasible, so that you can actually consider people's walking path within the community. Like even if we find out where footbridges should be linked and so on, escalators and so on. So I'm just wondering whether the new CTS or the new traffic TCS combined, will it put a bit more emphasis on walking so that it can be formalized in the planning process?
Yeah, the study has yet to be started, but I think walking will be one of the main areas we will look at. In fact, we are promoting walking at present. I talk about the hillside escalator initiatives. I talk about the walking research functions in our HKE mobility to facilitate walking of ordinary people, the visually impaired persons, or even the elderly. And yes, we are doing that. And I do expect that walking is one of the main areas we will look in during the study. And also, I show you our QR code of the HKU mobility. I hope that you will download it. Yes. And also switch on the location function to give us your location. We are not tracking any individuals, but because we of course has the route of your travel. but we don't know who that is. And also each route on different dates will be identified by a different identifier, so that we don't know if this particular route on day one is taken by the same people for the route of the second day. I hope that you can give us location information, because it is my aim to analyze the movement, the traffic needs of people, so that, for example, if I know that there are many people who have to switch transport mode, say 3 times during their travel to work, then we might consider to provide a direct bus route to take them from their origin to destination. We hope to, based on such information, we hope to improve our service to those who provide traffic data to us. And I hope that you can all do that.
Thank you. I think most people are not aware of the e-mobility app, which is very helpful, contains a lot of information. For example, it provides walking information. I could not imagine myself walking from USC to Hanghao until I turn on the app. It's only 45 minutes, 40 minutes. It also tell me how much steps or calorie I burn. So it's a very useful app. I encourage all of us to take a look at the e-mobility app. It contains loads and loads of information, I think.
Yes, this is the QR code. It is, I believe, is the fastest app that provide the traffic accident, say, information to you. Please download it. The QR code is on the screen. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Anyone have a last question for Mr. Law? I think very informative, very complete. Anyone last question?
I would like to ask the
Sure, Lucia.
question. Yeah. I'm come from the Robotics Institute of HKUST. We are working on the autonomous driving vehicles together with TD, and TD has do the test together with us. I would like to know from the research side, what kind of projects TD would like to support for us, and what kind of project direction is appropriate from the research side for application from the point of view of TD department. TD. So what kind of research project, research work TD would like to do work with us, both from the research side and the application side?
Thank you for your question. You remind me to talk about our Smart Traffic Fund, and which support any research and application of technology to improve the efficiency of our transport, and also to improve the road safety. We do not have in mind any particular type of projects, but if your project can improve the efficiency of the traffic, and also or to improve road safety, then please come to us, and we have the Smart Traffic Fund for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
I think with that, the seminar comes to a close. Let's thank Michael one more time for a wonderful presentation and very good discussion also. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to meeting you again.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks. And also I should say that the Friday seminar series for this semester is all completed. So we are looking for the next series, which will focus on smart economy and people and living. In the coming semester, we will invite stimulating speakers like this series for the upcoming round. I hope that you will also take a look at the email messages and try to attend if possible. Okay, thank you very much. Everyone has a good summer. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.